Hey guys, JT Tran here from ABCs of Attraction. Here with me is Gareth Jones, master of text to sex, as well as Ralph Loren. Alright, so a lot of people are wondering, why is text game better, especially when compared to the, let's say, older kind of practices, or some of the PUAs that say, calling up is, better, you gotta wait 3 days. Let's give it to Gareth here.
It's really interesting because when I first started kind of reading all the stuff about text game, it was never something that I was like, I'm going to go out and like, and I'm going to do this. I was kind of thinking just kind of what information is out there. So I browsed a lot of things and I kind of got a bad feeling from a lot of it. It gave me this kind of idea that these guys were just kind of doing, like putting it out there just so they could like, oh, here's my product, And that's kind of tough, and I never really agreed with it. And a lot of the things that I read, things like wait the amount of time it takes her to text you before you text her back, so you don't look needy, and like sending her funny jokes and stuff. It kind of cheesy, and a lot of the like reasons behind why people were doing things were really like awkward as well. Like if we're gonna send her something funny, like if you want to start a conversation, send her something funny, and she'll like you. And they were coming from a lot of really bad places. So what I did was I really re-engineered kind of how we look at text game. When you think about it, you can't come from a position of how do I get her to like me and she'll like me while I text her, and how do I get her to whatever. You really have to think about social graces and what we talk about, like social responsibility and things like that, and how we've kind of developed this new understanding of the way people communicate. Texting is like literally becoming so much more, like even every day, we have things like Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that, and it's all on the iPhone, it's all right there, so you can communicate in these like crazy ways that is instant all the time, Right. Even, we've got iMessage here in Australia, which is like the silliest thing, I didn't even expect it, which is so cool. So what we did was I went back and I kind of learned how to develop the way that we communicate and using social responsibility. Instead of saying, hey, I'm going to tell you a joke and you'll like me and that's why you'll respond, I go back and I say, what kind of message or what kind of communication can I do or can I send so that she will not respond, so there's no way she can't respond. We talk about high-fiving, we talk about handshaking and things like that. Social things that happen that everybody understands and that require a response, So what I try to do is figure out ways to do this so that we can get them to respond. Because once you have a girl responding, you're building up what's called compliance, right? You're building up, I should say it like this, the more she responds to you, the more she's gonna respond.
Can you give a specific example, like something that the guys could send to a girl right now?
Okay, cool. So out there on the internet, there's a lot of text message openers, and people will say, the one I saw that makes me want to shoot myself in the head is, hey, are your legs tired because you've been running through my head all day, right? Like literally, they're send this and she'll like it and respond to it. But what happens is that when a girl sees that, she says, okay, girls are smart, right? They know you're hitting on her. Like they know you're hitting on her. Like so she says, I know he's hitting on me. Do I want to respond and encourage it, or do I not want to encourage it? So if she doesn't think it's funny, if she doesn't want to encourage you hitting on her, if she's not that into you, then she's just simply not going to respond, and we're kind of stuck,
Right.
Whereas we're going to get more, we're going to win more if we can just simply start talking to her. And this is the same way that we do it with openers, like cheesy pickup lines from the 70s and 80s, like don't work, we don't use them, and there's a reason we don't use them, so why would we use them over text? So what I'll do is, with our social obligation and our kickstart that we talked about, we say cheers, I stick out my glass, everybody knows how to do that, and once you gain that compliance, you're you have momentum in the interaction. So what I'll do is I'll send a text message in order to start a conversation, kind of like a text message opener, in order to start a conversation that has social obligation as well. So I'll ask a question, I'll use a bait. A bait is something that requires a response. So instead of sending a text that says, hey cutie, I was thinking about you today and it's amazing, or whatever, I'm going to send her a text that said, hey, what was the name of that club last night? Because now she's not going to say, oh, he's hitting on me. She's going to say, oh, I need to answer this question. if you don't have good game, if maybe your interaction was a little bit shaky, she's going to be more likely to respond to this and way less likely to respond to a blatant attempt at picking her up, essentially, a blatant attempt to kind of pandering to her emotions. And so you're going to have a lot more luck. Plus, if she really likes you, you can judge by her response how she's feeling, right? So if I say, hey, what was the name of that club last night? And a girl says, Argyle, I've started the communication. I've got her compliance and beginning the communication. But if I send a girl a text that says, hey, what was the name of that club last night? And she sends me, oh, it's called Argyle. Ha ha ha, we had so much fun. Where did you guys go after? Are you still working this weekend? What do you want to, you can understand that her level, right? Her level of interest is much higher. Whereas in kind of like a cheesy, like funny, kind of pick-up-y text message, you only know either yes, she wants to encourage it, or no, she doesn't want to encourage it. And that's kind of frustrating. So what I'll do to start conversations, any kind of question related to the night, the biggest questions that we get are like, I just met this girl, when do I text her, what do I text her, So when I start these conversations, I want to start something that says, hey, what was the name of that club last night? Or what was that name of the drink that you had? Or what school did you say you went to? Or what was that movie we were talking about? Because that way, we can re-engage using just kind of basic social obligation and then game forward from there.
Yeah, very good, very good. Anything real quick you want to add when it comes to text and phone?
What I always do is, I do the same thing. I text the next day. I don't really wait or anything like that. It's because she does forget who you are, and if you text her 3 days, she may not even reply. So,
one thing that I took away from the entire text, because I always did like more the old school kind of text game, that was Gareth's, what's your schedule? I think that's a huge thing that you guys, it changed my game. I know that for a fact. You guys should be using this. This is one of the many ways that text to sex is just better than the old school pickup version 1.0. Because if you call her or you text her and you have this, a wonderful date plan. Said, hey, Lucy, what are you doing on like Tuesday? You want to go have dinner with me on Tuesday or whatever your date is? He says, oh no, I gotta work. Most of us are going to be like, okay, we're going to bounce from that, and we're going to give an alternate of Wednesday. And then she's like, oh no, I've got to work on Wednesday too. Most human beings at this point are like, okay, time to cut my losses.
I'm embarrassed.
Embarrassed. She doesn't like me, darn shucks. Time to go out and search for new numbers. But if you simply ask or texted her, what's your schedule like this week? And she says, oh, I'm working Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, but I'm off on Thursday. This has helped me and so many of our students. It's so simple, all right? And this is just one of the many, many kind of text and phone seduction secrets that are in your program. Any closing thoughts, Gareth?
I think, people kind of get a sense of how we're laying this stuff out and what we do. And that's a great example of it's very indicative of the style of teaching that we do here. We want to understand how we can use these numbers and how we can use these messages to communicate effectively, but also to cut straight to the point, really. Like, I don't spend a lot of time on text making girls like me, telling her funny jokes or doing funny routines, because I'm already setting up a date. We use social obligation to set up that date, and it's really, really easy, and it's very straightforward. A lot of guys don't like texting. A lot of girls don't like, texting or like calling guys, like talking on the phone with guys. So I find that to be straightforward, to be dominant, and to get right to the point is one of the most powerful things that you can do over text, and that's why we lay that out completely in the program, of course.
Cool. All right, guys, just remember, everything that you've learned about text game is wrong, all right? This is the new generation of smartphone game. Thanks, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to send them to info@abcofattraction.com.